Alright, so if anybody's in the stream, let me know if you can hear me, because I have no idea if I've set this stuff up correct. It looks like there might be somebody in there. Stuntman Daz. Cool. So it seems like maybe it's working. So I'm gonna do some practice around Kyalami. Default Grand Prix Legends. Nothing too special set up, but we'll see if everything's working. I guess most importantly, that's the most important part. We'll roll out Ferrari 312. See if we can put some laps together. It's going pretty well. This is a new thing I've never tried doing before, streaming live. A lot more on the line, and I guess I could actually prove that I can stay on the track in Grand Prix Legends. If anybody's ever wondered if I actually do the driving live, I think this might be confirmation. And let me know if you can hear my voice over the engine noise. I think that was one of the things I'm most worried about. Getting all this to work together is a little hectic. Get it down in a second here. Back in a second. I haven't raced at the vanilla Grand Prix Legends Kyalami in a long time. It's very plain looking, I would say. Getting up into 5th gear over the line. So we're in a practice session for a short race. So I think the race itself will be something like 12 laps. And it's actually, I set it to World Championship mode, so who knows, maybe we'll do a few rounds in the 67 default World Championship and see how well we can do. A little too sideways there. Thanks, Rolanzo, for confirming the sound levels. I did a little bit of testing, but wasn't sure if it would end up sounding right once I actually get to talking and driving at the same time. This car on cold tires for sure. Get it coming around here. So this session will function as a practice and qualifying, of course, but I think it's just a 30-minute session, so it'll be a pretty short one. Try not to over-rev, although it's impossible to see what the actual rev counter is at. Up through 5th gear over the line, so that lap would have been terrible, but we'll see if we can put together a couple good ones here. Showing off going into the first corner one-handed. So come up behind, I think, one of the Eagles. One thing that was striking me playing this earlier, just as I was testing, is the other cars really do sound different, even in this default setup. It's pretty cool to think back in 1998 they actually put different sounds in. That was that important. They'd put different sounds in, and I think my teammate here going to the inside let him by, probably aiming. I have no idea how competitive I'll actually be. why the low graphics? Well, this is the vanilla game, so yes, the game is 21 years old, and this is how it looked back in the day. Normally I'm playing with a bunch of mods and stuff, and just thought I'd turn it on vanilla mode here and see what things look like. It's the same game under the hood no matter what the graphics end up looking like. Maybe we'll jump into a modded version of the game after a little bit, but wanted to play it in the original state here. Alright, so that lap was also terrible for having let my teammate past. Down for third gear, hard braking, really easy to outbrake yourself. Ooh, right up to the curb. Go down in a second here for the second turn. One thing I'm going to have to get good at doing here if I want to do some live streaming is reading chat notes while driving. Not the easiest thing to do. Put into first gear here. Saw a white flag there. So it means maybe a slow car up ahead. Another one. Another Ferrari all over behind me. Alright. It is speeding up just a little bit. We'll take a look at the pit board. P17. Not good. There'd be 20 cars in the race, including myself, so we're going to want to start much further up the grid. It's another one of my Ferrari teammates goes blasting past. Oh, overcooked it there. Trying to get somebody not to hit me so I don't have to start the run over. I want to check out the setup too, because I have literally, I think, left things on default unless I had another setup selected from the last time I ran this, but it would have been a long time ago. I've got a few different installs set up of Grand Prix Legends, so this is my default one, so it's literally just the bare essentials as far as mods go. And yes, Stuntman, I'm running at 1080p with no borders. That actually is a mod I have on. There's a letterbox removal mod. It's definitely needed. But actually it makes it look quite funny because you can see so much further down in the cockpit than you would have been able to by default. I think that's one of the Hondas here. The Murasama in the default game. Alright, we have to actually step it up here. 22 minutes left in the session. Not a ton of time. Oh, and he's gonna slow me up so much. Oh, just tapping the back of him there. Sneak by the Honda here. Get in the blue flags. I'd like to get one run here on the default setup before we start tinkering around. But the 30-minute session is not very long with these short races. Spinning the tires a little bit there. Down into second gear. Try to get a good run onto the front straightaway. gears. That wouldn't have been a good lap, but I can try it again here. Alright, back in wanting to get away from me into the first corner, but making it through with some decent speed. Back down into second here. Back end is very loose, so I think something I want to look at is the ramp angles I have. I'm trying to get the ends not to swap on me as much. Making a terrible line here through this right-hander. Get her up. Back through. Gears down to second again. To third, back down to second. Try to get a solid exit here. And I'll say the car feels absolutely terrible. It's very loose under braking, very tight under acceleration. Or oversteer, understeer for you Euros. Alright, past the line there. Let me pull off and we'll take a look at what the setup's actually looking like. The track is Kyalami, so it'll be the South African Grand Prix. Would have been the first track of season in '67. And throughout the 60s, actually, the late 60s. So it looks like we're sat 17th right now, which is not so great. Chris Amon, Ferrari, is a bit higher. And I think everyone's going to have a tough time seeing the smaller screen here. So I'm not going to spend too much time in it. I got to figure out a way to zoom in. But essentially the game reverts back to the 640 resolution when you're on the smaller screen. Or when you're in the menus. So it's a little tougher to look at. So it looks like I have one other setup here. I can try this one, and then if this isn't good, we will play around with things. But I'm going to lower the fuel a little bit. I'll lower my steering ratio to 14:1. Take a quick look here. The drivetrain. But we will test this one out. Not too much time left. I think the session's already about halfway over. We will need some serious pace or else we're going to be playing around the back. Up through the gears. So, gotta remember the tires are going to be cold again this time out, so we will need to take it slow here for the first couple laps and then see if we can do anything special with this. Run a bit wide there. No issues, no punctures in this sim to worry about. So as long as I'm not spinning out or hitting things, we should be fine. We're still very oversteery. On entry, that's really the biggest problem. Actually like a little bit of oversteer on exit because you can then kind of modulate yourself with the throttle. So I'm stuck up behind a car here. No idea, it might be Siffert. Oh, and I tap him, sending me into the grass. Looks like we've got about 20 people watching, which is cool. I appreciate folks sitting through the first time trying to do anything live. A lot of this happening in the background when I do a video. I'm practicing, making sure I know the tracks, but this is a good track. One that I've raced on many, many times. I think anybody with the sim would have tried this one, probably as their first circuit. Too slow there in the middle of the turn. I used to use track IR to do head tracking, and I think a lot of my 65 season videos I'm using that, but it's honestly a little difficult to get set up right, especially concerning ambient light and things. Actually, where I have things set up now, I've got a window directly behind me, so that I would need to black out the window or something to be able to use it. And there's also a few of the newer mods that don't work with it, unfortunately. So you can't use track IR with everything anymore. So I think some of the newer mods that have a lot of different cars in them, the way they're built is different, and I've never actually fully understood why, but they just don't work with the track IR plugin that was built. Alright, we have 14 minutes left. Clark is leading the session, of course. Default Grand Prix Legends, Jim Clark wins everything, which isn't too far off of reality, but at this race in real life, they wouldn't have had the Lotus 49 yet. So, I think they're still racing the 66 car. Full cross, full lock there. Opposite lock. So I do feel like with the new setup I have on the car, it is a little bit faster. If anybody has some setup tips, you can try out some different stuff. I'm actually really not that great with setups. I know some of the basics, but it is one of those things that I tend to find some starting points online and then tweak here and there. Gotta get around this Ferrari so my next lap is not let up. He might be going into the pits. He's going awful slow. Alright, we're gonna pass to the inside here. Use the full rev range. Oh, alright. Just dipping out onto the grass, but we got around him. See what we can do here on this lap. Down to second gear for the first turn. He's going to look up the inside, but that's not going to work. The car is very all over the place. A very gummy suspension. Stuntman hoping to learn setups from me. Well, we can take a spin through what I do know, but definitely not an authority on that. I tend to just drive it the best it can be driven with the setup it has. Alright, sliding the back end into the corner, trying to straighten it out to get a good exit. Not a terrible lap, but still plenty of time to find. Let's see if we can do another one here now that the tires are up to temperature. Let's take a look at the pit board. The pit board is a lap behind us, though, so obviously we're not going to know how that lap was until we get back around. Pretty realistic in that sense. A little frustrating if you're used to that instant notification of today's racing. Through third gear. That should just be just a let off the throttle, but tends to be a little bit more than that. Oh, I'm losing it there. That was actually a really good it's a really good lap going, I think, but we'll have to try it again here. Try not to pull out in front of anybody. One of the Brabhams going by. Looked like might have been Jack. Jack or Denny. Actually, Denny was number one. The stock graphics are wonderfully inconsistent. The dashboard is definitely my main complaint with the stock graphics. You can't see any of the dials numbers at all. The first time I saw that, I was like, oh, I must have some kind of filtering option turned off, but that is what it was. There's really small textures, so some kind of replacement on those is almost a necessity. There's still P17, which is a little disappointing. I think that last lap would have been pretty good. I kind of like it being a dual practice and qualifying session, not having separate sessions for each. You have different priorities out on the track. You got some guys trying to go for fast laps, some guys just making sure their cars are working. Maybe a little more going on. A little wide on that corner, but don't need second gear there, or first gear rather. Not a good exit. Alright, get it back up the gears. Taking a sneak peek at the chat window is not a good plan. Only 8 minutes to go. We're going to try to squeak out as many laps as we can, I think. I don't think it's worth going in, doing a few more adjustments, and then trying to warm up the tires again. I think we would run out of time. Missing the apex there. Pretty terrible turns 1 and 2. I am definitely a little bit rusty, I would say. All kinds of oversteer there. Keep it in second this time here, but that might not be geared exactly right. Oh, the exit there wasn't that bad. Pushing me out there. Not great to dip a wheel on. Through 4th and 5th gear. Yeah, this is 67. It's the default cars that would have come with the game, so it's kind of a weird mashup of maybe each team's best car from the season. This is supposed to be the Ferrari 312, and it seems like it's in like Monza trim. The AI in the sim is amazing. They definitely don't obey it to the same laws of physics as you do in the car. However, the things that they have that other sims don't, and something I'm really hoping the group working on the AI for iRacing are able to pull over, is like mechanical breakdowns, driver strengths. You really feel like if you race a few races, you're racing the same drivers, and that's, I think, the best part about racing AI is that you can have a field of consistent, drivers anytime you want. You can recreate, historic stuff. You can also just have fun races like we're doing here, and race a real, semi-realistic field. Now they're gonna make some boneheaded moves. They might move a little erratically. But, you're going to get some mechanical failures. You could run a whole season and have a great championship battle. That to me is where AI shines. Never going to beat wheel-to-wheel racing with a real person. But the amount of times you get that when racing online, I think you're going to have a consistently more fun time a lot of the time racing good AI. Oh, man. I had a really good turn 1 there. I never really posted too many videos, but I did race iRacing for a long time. I still do here and there. And I do like it, but something brings me back to these older sims. And so I'm hoping, this lap's trash, hoping that the new AI for iRacing is something that fills a void. Alright, we really gotta concentrate on this one now. Kind of an oddity, cool thing about Grand Prix Legends is that the tires don't actually wear, they just get hot, so if you run a lot of laps and take it easy for a couple, you'll actually cool down the tires and the car will be just as good as it ever was. And I'm up to P14, so this isn't abysmal. And I don't know where I got a lap that put me there, because it feels like every lap's been kind of a trash fest. Looking a nice four-wheel slide out of the first turn into the second turn, dipping onto the curbing. Just not feeling very consistent in the car. It's kind of a battle here. Up to fourth then. Try to spot some kind of braking marker for this right-hander and losing the back end. Oh, try not to hit the wall. I think we just missed it. Wave at the other driver, say I'm alright. Alright, I think we're gonna have time for one more lap here. It's unfortunate, because that one seems like it would have been pretty good. And then we gotta try to figure out how we're gonna make it through the race. It's only 12 laps, but you never know how these things are gonna go. And who knows, maybe we'll be taken out in turn 1. Alright, try to gas her up here and go. I think I'm only gonna have maybe one opportunity at this. Less than 3 minutes to go in the session. Down into second gear, let it drift into the corner, try to get back on the gas as soon as we can. Point the car to turn 2. That wasn't too bad. Third gear. This corner's hard, it's off camber, it's pretty easy to spin out. You have to go so slow through the middle of it, unless you have a killer setup on the car, which clearly we do not. Went down to second gear there, which we should not have done, or went down to first, which we should not have done. Okay, we gotta see if we can make it back to the line for another attempt at a flyer. Looks like we might be starting back in P14 or so. Alright, fourth gear, fifth gear, 1 minute, no flagger though, so we're good to do this flyer. Into the first turn, nice and steady. I'm not trying to do anything too showy here, just trying to get around the track consistently and quick. And it's not going to happen. So we got to figure out how we can get the back end from stopping to spin out. I'll try to go around, but I think we're going to be out of time. Whoop. Cutting off, I think, Dan Gurney there. He won't be happy about that. Sorry, Dan. I'm trashing the car. So let's jump out. We'll take a look at the qualifying, I guess, results here. P14. So we're only about a second quicker than Jackie Ix. Jackie Ix in the Cooper. However, we're about 3 seconds slower than Jim Clark in his Lotus. But if we look at the two Lotuses, they're so much quicker, about half a mile an hour, or half a second quicker. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see it. I have to figure out how to zoom in when I'm in the menus. But we're going to try to click a couple buttons here and see if we can make something a little better. I think we want to go up on one of the ramp angles here. And there isn't, yeah, in GPL there is lighting, but it's very, I'll pull open a replay or a video view here of Jim Clark. There is lighting, but I think it's called just, it's like a lighting orb in the sky, so objects aren't casting shadows and things. So there's like a slight reflection on cars, which is pretty cool. However, and you can see it on the top of his helmet there, that it's, you know, there's a little bit of a light source, but, you know, otherwise it's all just flat texturing. And that's what makes something like the Spa 67 track that I did a video on so amazing to look at. And maybe the replay view isn't working because I see it's just black, so I'll switch back out of that. We'll hopefully get the view working when we're in a race. I know capturing this game is really hard to do, but hopefully we get it back. I'm gonna wait to make sure we get back the game when we're out of full screen. We might have lost it. So we will, alright, I'm going to advance to the race, and then we will save. I'm going to accelerate time to the race. We will save everything. There we go. Now we have it back. So we will save the results, and then, oh, it looks like things are working again. So we'll go back in. Alright, so we're going to try to do the race here. I have to figure out how to capture the game better, because it's always a difficult time to get this thing working. But we'll do the race. It's a 12-lap race. I'm going to be starting, if we look at the starting grid here, pretty far back, 15th place. So somebody jumped me at the last second, I guess, in qualifying. So we're going to be in 15th, which I think is going to put us on the right side, which is all right. Or I think it'll be actually on the left. So we're gonna have to try to figure out a way to weed down into turn one without things getting too crazy. I'm gonna lose a couple gallons of fuel. I adjusted the ramp angle, so hopefully I have a more stable car. But everybody, cross your fingers for getting through turn one. That's always the trick here, and then we'll see how good we do overall. All right, at the back of the grid. Wait for that flag to go up, and away we go. Getting held up here behind a Ferrari. Get it up into third gear, then fourth gear as we'll come into turn one. Just be careful. Second gear for turn one, then. Looks like we might be making it through. I don't know if I have anybody on my inside going pretty wide. One of the Hondas there up the inside, just saw his nose. Somebody kind of going all over the place for the second turn. Oh, I've been making up a couple spots. So we head towards turn 3 there. Alright, it's not a terrible start. Get it down into third gear. Remember, the tires are cold here, so we're going to have to tread carefully the first lap or two, but making up a couple spots and running wide there. But if I tried to yank it in, it would have spun out, so this ultimately is a little bit better. The car to my left, you have to be really careful about hooking wheels with other cars. good exit here for the front straightaway. And we'll have to see if we have the top speed, because I don't remember. Well, I guess I passed a couple cars here on the front straightaway in practice. But a little bit messy of a first lap. Made up a couple spots there through the first couple turns. And then lost it a little bit there in our favorite slow speed left-hand corner, but all in all, not touching anything, which is important. Yeah, I do have to watch out for the rear end oversteer. That'll get me. Feels actually a little better though. I think I could have done something a little bit more with my ramp angles to try to tune some of that out, but more a throttle oversteer you get rid of, so that braking oversteer into the corner, the harder it is to actually turn the car in, unless you're compensating with suspension adjustments and things. So you can spend a lot of time editing car setups and getting things tuned a specific way. I'll get down into second gear. So I'm sticking with the pack in front. It looks like I might have an Eagle up in front, so maybe Dan Gurney. I don't know what position I'm in. We're going to take a look here at the pit board this time by. I got a Honda coming right up behind me. Not getting a very good exit or run through that turn. Hopefully this isn't one of those races where you pass a bunch of guys in the first lap and then have them hound you for the rest of the race. And P15, which isn't as high up as I was thinking, but I think I lost everything I gained in running wide there on the first lap. A little bit of oversteer. We'll cut through the gears here. Put it into second this time for this corner, which might be a little bit slower, but definitely made it feel more solid. Oh man, this slow speed corner is just so hard. You want to shift down early because that helps slow the car down, but it makes it want to swap ends on you. So I'm running really wide through the first part of this little chicane. Fourth gear, we'll get up to fifth gear here. So 9 laps. So we got through the first, what I would call the first phase of the race. But I'm not sure how competitive we are, or if it will come to us. So I think I just got to try to put in a couple consistent laps here. And race at 95%. See how well we can do. To fourth gear for this left-hander, which seems like it's going to work out okay. I think we'll keep it in second for this right-hander. It definitely feels feels better. I think as long as I give it an extra second there before going down to first, things work out. Second gear through the gears now, so that is what I think a consistent lap looks like. It's nothing special, but I think I might have actually gained just a little bit. Down to second gear then. We're definitely pulling in the pack in front, but just barely. think the car is finally up to temperature, despite running a little wide in that turn, which it feels pretty good. Try not to get tunnel vision chasing the cars. It's pretty easy, especially once you get about this far away and a little bit closer. Just focusing on the cars in front, which ultimately is not exactly what you want to do. You want to run, the reason you caught them is was you're going quicker, so you want to run the same way you were running, not how they're running. And I think I could actually use more top gear there on the straightaway. Feels like I'm hitting max RPM pretty soon. I think I'm catching them entirely in the second and third turns. And yeah, we're gonna try to slipstream them as we get closer. But I've always had a problem with slipstreams in Grand Prix Legends. The cars, again, I was saying a little bit earlier, they're not governed by the same rules that the player car is. They're not actually using the physics in the game, at least not the same physics, to run. So to get them to go kind of a similar speed on the straightaway and then have you be able to draft up through the slipstream with them is not always possible. Pretend it's that they've got different gearing than me. Six laps to go, so we're already half done the race. I forgot how short these short races are. I think in the 55 series I've been doing, I'm running the longer races, so there's a lot more time to work on cars, but we gotta start making some moves here if we're gonna hope to finish any higher than 15th. Running a little too hard into the second turn, losing some of that ground that we picked up. Up the left front there into the slow left-hander. I'll try to get a good exit. So lost a little time on that lap, but able to not fall too far behind with the mistake. Five laps left. Getting a flat foot there. Felt pretty good. The car is actually really light now because of the fuel. Wow, that was the weirdest corner entry I think I think I've had yet to that. Need to figure out this this oversteer on getting into the turns. So we're holding station, unfortunately. We're not making any progress. But you can blame a couple shoddy corners every lap on that. pass on somebody here to make this whole race worth it. Appreciate everybody watching. First attempt at live streaming. I don't know how it's going, but hopefully it's fun to watch. For those that don't have the sim, can't get it running, whatever it is. Nothing like a Saturday morning race. I might be close enough now to pick up the slipstream. But not close enough yet to hope for a pass. Oh, the car is sliding all over the place. Poor corner. I don't know why I shifted down there. Thinking too much about what I'm doing. There's this weird, I've heard real drivers talk about it before, this weird subconscious state you want to get in when you're racing, when you're not really thinking what you're doing, you're just reacting, and I totally understand what that's all about. Actually, talking while driving actually helps me sometimes. I kind of forget that I'm driving and I'm just reacting to what I'm seeing. There's other times when that goes and bites you too if you forget to shift or something, like I just did a few corners ago. How many laps we got left? Just 2 more laps in the South African Grand Prix here, where we have been 15th for all of the laps. Started 15th, passed a couple cars, made a mistake, and now back to 15th again for the majority of the Grand Prix here, but I feel like we can get 13th, or at least 14th. Oh, just running onto the dirt a little bit. And she slides out wide. I was hoping it would grip and I could got the accelerator down a little earlier. So we got one more lap to go, and I'm not going to be close enough here to do any kind of special passing into turn 1, but let's see if we can make miracles happen. Trying for too much in turn 2 there and just letting it run wide. Not able to get the exit I wanted. It's too bad because I think a couple more laps and we could do this, but you know, I had 12 laps to get by him, and it took me that long to get my stuff together enough to catch him. So we'll round out the final turn here and come to the line. So not a very exciting race, but hopefully fun enough to watch for a first type of live stream race. A little more on the line when you're live streaming, I think, because if I botched that up That would have been a disappointing half-hour practice that we did. Yeah, and what do folks want to do next? I don't think I'm done yet, unless folks are sick of me. But we could either continue on with this championship, since I did start this as a championship. Oops, sorry, I think Siffert behind me. I did start this as a championship, so we could continue on and do Monaco, I think, which, you know, is always always an interesting time. We could also change and do 55 cars. We could do Isle of Man. We could do a modded 67 race. What are folks thinking? I start Targa Florio. I really don't know the track, unfortunately, so I think it would be pretty boring. I've done some laps around it, but I don't think I've ever made it a full lap without hitting a wall or something. Which, I guess you gotta start somewhere, but I don't know if learning a track on a live stream is what I want to do. I don't know if I can do a race at the Isle of Man. I think last time I tried that, I had some problems with the track crashing on me. We can see if we can try to fix that real quick, though. I think Jim Pearson, the guy that released the track, put out a video, or not a video. He put out a few videos, but he also put out a patch for the track to hopefully make it better as far as crashing. Because I could do single laps by myself, but starting to do laps with other traffic got a little messy with crashes and things. So why don't we do this? I'm going to jump out of the car here. We'll take a quick look at who finished where. I know it's going to be harder for folks to see, though. So Graham Hill won. Oh, good for him. Graham Hill from Jim Clark. So I guess the two Lotuses swap positions. Finished down in P15. Looks like nobody had a failure, which is very interesting. Denny Holm rounded out the podium. So pretty good race overall. We'll hit the green flag here to progress the championship. And I think what we'll do is try to do some practice laps or something. Maybe we'll try a race at the Isle of Man, which seems insane. But I'm going to put up a quick screen here for a second. I don't have a fancy setup done yet, but I'm going to take a quick break. Just run to the bathroom and everything, and then we'll come back and we'll do a few laps and maybe some racing around the Isle of Man. So hope everybody's enjoying so far, but we'll be back in a minute. Alright, I'm back. I did race in a Pergusa in the 65 series. That's a really cool track too, but it's not one I've been around in a little while. It's a beautiful track as far as like the build quality of it. How's the quality of the stream when I was racing for everybody? Is the quality good? Because I think YouTube's not in love with me right now as far as quality goes. I know you're not seeing anything right now, but I'm gonna set up here to run. I'm gonna run F2 cars again at the Isle of Man. Try to do it with some other cars, but we'll see if that's possible to do. It's definitely a beast of a track to run. I think when I recorded the video of it, I had to run Grand Prix Legends at 720p, where I usually do 1080. But it wasn't keeping up with me, so we'll have to see if this actually works. We'll have to see if we can actually get the updated Isle of Man to download here. Might as well show. I feel like folks always ask what the install process for doing Grand Prix Legends stuff is. So might as well show how all that works. If I can actually get this thing to download. It might not work. Jim's site might be down right now, so we might have to do solo laps again. Oh, it looks like it might be downloading. So we'll have to give this a minute. But basically, this is something I really never showed before, but this is Gem, which is a program that helps you run and configure Grand Prix Legends. Since all of the mods and everything you do with it are built on top of the original platform, and they allow you to do a whole lot more with different cars and car liveries and shapes and seasons and all that. You have to use this program essentially to run Grand Prix Legends, especially if you want to run more than just one set of cars and things. So the way I have mine set up is actually with a bunch of different installs. I've actually spent enough time since I've touched some of these that I don't remember exactly what they all do, but I was aligning different installs to seasons so that I could set my tracks up and everything to have the right graphics and all that for each season. And so the one we were just playing in was the GPL default. And so I really, like I was saying during that race, I had just installed the basic stuff to get the game running and some of the essential, as I would think of them, patches. But outside of that is really just kind of vanilla as it was back in the day. But what we'll switch to in this is my 67 install, which has got a bunch of stuff in it. We could do races with the historical car sets for each of them. But we'll choose my Formula 2 set. And then I really love the Coopers. Anybody have preference on which F2 car we actually run? And I'll let... there's a huge delay between folks, I think, you watching and and me talking. But if anybody has a preference on which car, I love the Cooper. That's the one I did in the video for the Isle of Man. But if anybody has preferences, we could try something else out. I think I've raced most of these cars before. But we can see if there's anything too exciting. Check on the download that's coming down. It looks like it downloaded. So to get this stuff installed, it's actually pretty easy. We also have to download the options manager. This is definitely the most complicated track to install, but we have the full installer, so we'll run that. I've got too much stuff in here right now. What I'm going to do before I run that delete the old one I had. Since we won't need that anymore. And then we will install the new one. The Protos, I don't know anything about that car, but that's the one with the crazy windscreen. So you end up looking through a little slit in a full canopy cockpit. Could be interesting to try out, but definitely has a restricted view versus what folks might enjoy. Go back and install the track here. I'm gonna install it into my 67 setup. Yeah, I know there's a 68 car set being worked on, or finally kind of a full mod for it. 68's the only season that's missing from Grand Prix Legends. You can race every, essentially, I haven't done a fine-tooth comb on this, but you can race every F1 race from 1965 through 1969 and have the correct starting grid with the correct cars and configurations and numbers and performance and everything for all those years, except for 1968. And there's been a couple guys over the years. There's a car set you can use for it, but I guess we'll go with the Protos. It's going to be really interesting. Have never driven it for more than maybe a couple laps somewhere, but the 68 set, there were some screenshots posted of somebody working, you know, had put together essentially the grid for each race, and bugged them about helping out because I've made some stuff for Grand Prix Legends, but haven't heard anything. And so we need to put the options folder inside of the track folder. This is Jim Pearson's amazing options program. So with this, you can configure the track. It's like the coolest thing because no other tracks have this. So since this is a pain in the butt track to learn, 37 3/4 miles, if you want to start halfway around the track so that you can become familiar, you know, with a different section before you slam into the wall, you can do that here. So I could say, oh, we actually want to start at the Ball Crane or Ginger Hall, you know, start all the way around. I'm going to start in the pits because I do want to race with other cars, but very cool. Very cool to do. Pace notes, that's for the week. I'm not going to use that. We're going to do bright and sunny lighting with hard shadows. I'm going to turn on the mountain mist. This is like the coolest. I was playing with this after we playing with it after I had done the video, and I wish I did the video with it. I'm going to turn on lower light so that we're not confused by why it's foggy and super sunny, but it is super cool. Adds fog. It's probably going to make it much harder to drive, but we'll do that. We're not going to use direction arrows or location names or advertise. Who likes advertising? We're not going to use any of that. Although it's very cool that he basically built the ability to use advertising banners, which is amazing. So we set that. Now the track's all set up. Okay, so we're going to use the Protos. We're going to do a race. We're going to set it to a race so that we have a practice session to use. And I think we'll want to do a short race, please. But that will limit our practice time. But we'll probably get a chance to do like a lap or two before we... maybe a lap before we actually have to go race. But we'll see. I have these other patches here too. So this is how we set some of the other mods that are in Grand Prix Legends. So we have a weather mod. So this would make the whole race like foggy and rainy looking, which could be interesting over the Isle of Man. The no letterbox patch, V4. So there's a difference. I think V3 takes away the letterbox in the replay mode as well. But you know, for this it doesn't matter. But when I'm filming videos, actually, it's helpful to have the controls and everything in the replays. Head movement, that actually makes the other drivers turn their heads. Tachometer patch, that'll make our tack bounce around. We have our camera control master, which would allow us to move the camera around the map. But I won't do that. We'll probably get crashes if we do that in this. And then speed control, cannot remember what that does, Everything looks good. Force feedback patch. So let's see if it'll actually work here. I'm gonna actually reduce the number of cars to 9 AI, so there will be 10 cars. Honestly, you don't really race at this track anyway. It's, you know, even more so than the Nürburgring. You're doing a you know, 3 corners with the other cars, and then you're probably never seeing anybody again. But we'll jump in and get into session. So the race itself would be 2 laps, which if we were to do that, no promises, that would be a, you know, 40-minute race or something, which is crazy to think. 2 laps, 40 minutes around, but you should be able to easily get sub 20-minute laps in the sim if you were good at it. I think I know the track a lot better than I used to. I've done a couple laps every evening for the past couple of weeks just to test it out and everything. But all right, so we're gonna do a little bit of car setup. And this car I don't have a setup for. Jeez, the background sounds are really loud, so hopefully folks can hear me. If not, let me know if you can't hear me. Call us some oily man. And we gotta add some fuel because we wouldn't even make it around. Put 20 gallons in. And then the thing we really have to do is raise the ride height like a lot because this is a public road. And so I'm actually gonna pitch it up a little bit. This is one of those tracks, and Jim talks about this in his guide, but you do not need a competitive setup, or you really don't even want one because you know, the track itself is the competition here. I mean, you want your car to be stable, trustworthy, something that you feel like you can push a bit. All right, let me just fix one thing. Gotta fix the resolution of the old sim because I forgot we had changed it since. All right, so we're in the Protos. Set one other setting before we go for a run around for a practice lap, I guess. I'm gonna make sure I have some of my buttons mapped and everything. I don't want to get halfway around the track and realize that things aren't working. Left and right. Raise arm is the most important control in the sim. All right, so we'll try to do a lap. Hopefully, firstly, the game won't crash, and if it does, we'll switch to testing mode and forget about racing. But hopefully we can also then make a full lap, because I did one in my video, but I purposely went very slow so I could show off the whole circuit. And this car is so strange to drive with the windshield the way it is. I guess this is, you know, way ahead of its time, being a Grand Prix car from the 70s, albeit F2, and it has a full canopy, so, you know, more safe than modern F1 cars. You heard it here first. So we'll go through the bottom of Bray Hill, and that's one of those areas that you really need the ride height set for. Come over the hill and down to Quarter Bridge. Get the car shifted down. And there's sound effects in the background. I don't know if I love them. The amount of work, I find it hard to criticize anything Jim did on this track. So I won't really, but it's one of the more interesting choices. So go there through Braddon Bridge, I think, and now we're gonna head through Union Mills. So this is a really fast part. Okay, I actually know how many gears are in this car, so I'm in 5th now. So we know there's at least a 5th. We'll go to 4th. And 3rd through Union Mills. We'll keep it in 3rd here. It's a pretty tight little right and left-hander. But then we'll gas it up. This is one of the quickest straights on the track. Up through 5th gear. It's this first little kink. And I don't know if it has a name, but flat out kink. Maybe a little too aggressive on the turn in. And then we'll come up to Paul Gary, which is a really fast turn. 4th gear. We're going to baby it through because I have no idea how fast this car can go through the corners. Alright, back up to 5th. We're going to be flat out through Crosby then. Yeah, he probably did do the sound effects so you don't feel lonely, because it's kind of silly to try to race against other cars anyway. Like, where are you going to pass? And the track itself is more than enough to drive on. If you want to feel like you're just driving down some roads and doing something crazy, this is the circuit for you. So we'll hit over the hill here, lift off the gas, not to over-rev the car. Ooh, nice jump. Flat out through these couple of turns. So I suppose this is my out lap, right? And then I would get a real lap. So we're going to do... I'm just going to do this lap, and then we'll try to do the 2-lap race. So this is one of the sections that I'm not super familiar with. So we're not going to be gunning it through here because I don't want to hit the wall. But then, yep, we come up to, there's a left-hander here that goes over a bridge. Put it into 3rd gear. It's a pretty fast corner, though. Ooh, out to the curb. When spinning, can I save it without hitting anything? I think that's all I could ever hope for there. My God. That's probably the luckiest turn and spin and everything. I'm just trying to collect myself after that. Can you imagine doing that in real life? My God. Alright. Well, we got away with 1, so that's our 1, I think. Oh my gosh. So we'll work our way down through to Glen Vine, and I believe this is where the fog starts coming in. Oh no, this is Balacary. Or the Balacrane, there we go. Love that turn. Get a great acceleration out of it. A lot of fun. We'll come through. That's actually a little faster, I know that one. I'm gonna try to get my thoughts back together after that spin. That was silly. And then this hill, very deceiving. Feels like you're gonna have to turn left there, but you actually go straight a little bit longer, so you can go a bit faster than you think you can. Alright, and into the fog. Such a cool effect. And at least in this car I'm protected from the moisture, although I have this giant hole in front of me. A slit in it. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I guess the whole point of the windshield on this car was to you know, slipstream better, probably go through the air faster, but it must not have worked well. Alright, and then we're getting to Glen Helen here. I wish I could read some of the comments. Well, as we get up to the Conchivati straight up ahead, I'll take a look. But here, we go through Glen Helen, get on the gas. Sarah's Cottage here, we're going to have to dip off the gas. Sure, we apex late on that one, and then I think it's pretty quick here through a couple of turns. Yeah, and then we're gonna come out of the trees here onto the Conchivati straight. Not quite yet. Oh, in the fog again as well. It's early morning. If we all play pretend for a second. Yeah, this spin was much more than silly. That was, you don't get away with too many of those on the Snaefell Mountain course here at the Isle of Man. That's for sure. Alright, first one of those was fast, I gotta remember. Second one's a little slower. Brake, 3rd gear, left-hander here. And then the Barragero, which, again, I'm not sure my pronunciation of these, but we're going to be coming up to that soon. Overall, the car feels actually pretty good. It's because I've driven a few of the other F2 cars that I don't like as much. The Lola feels like you're sitting on top of a bathtub. I really do like the Cooper. The Matra didn't feel like it had enough power. I could be wrong with that. Here we go to the Barragero. It's a cool corner. Oh, car getting really sideways through the bottom. That was much too close. With the fog and everything, definitely adds a dramatic aspect to it. It looks amazing too. I mean, I know what he's doing. There's a bunch of textures that we're kind of passing through, but it honestly feels like waves of fog. It's really, really cool. We're working towards Douglas Corner here. All right, getting through Kirk Michael. This is tough. The curbs will get you. That's what you got to watch out for. Take a couple right hand here, another left, to kind of just switch back past a gas station. And I think we want to get out wide here, yeah, and then pull it in towards the inside so that over this leap, we can take it almost straight. Because that one can get tricky if you have a lot of load in the car and you don't want to jump in the air if you have load in the tires. To fifth gear then. It's another part of the circuit not too good at yet. I think we're going to be looking for Bala Bridge, which is an important quarter, probably one of the first ones you'll learn, since you pretty much have to stop for it. Yeah, and here we are, Bala Bridge, second gear, might be a first gear corner. Quite the leap. I think in real life the motorcycles going over that are pretty much stopped. Going over it, you just roll over it. Not even, you know, for the jump itself, but you don't want to put that type of strain on a bike. All right, and I think there's a fairly technical section here. Down to fourth gear. And the fog making it really hard to see actually. I'm somewhere else. This is what you do a lot around this circuit, is feel like you're somewhere else on the circuit. If it feels like I'm babying the car, it's because I really am. But you can't, as you saw from that spin earlier, it's really easy to mess things up. And until you learn the circuit really thoroughly, it's we're on the Selby Straight now, so we went through Quarry Bends there, Selby Straight. Until you learn the track really thoroughly, you're not going to be able to go fast here, you know. Come through this kink and then heavy braking for the Selby Bridge and Ginger Hall. Second gear maybe, not as tight as I was thinking. And there's Ginger Hall directly in front, maybe named for the color, I don't actually know. Slow corner there. That one's deceiving because you can get through it pretty quick if you take the right line. Over a little hump. It's the blind corners you gotta be careful for. This might be the end. Oh, I'm hitting the wall there. And that is the end. The suspension, all kinds of sideways now. I don't think it's going to be worth continuing on because it is the hardest to learn. As you can see, I just I'm catching up on Fastlane's comment now, but as you can see, a very hard section of the track to learn because I just hit the wall. Yeah, there's various parts. You first feel like on this track especially, I'm going through the process of learning where, the first thing you find are the corners that if you really don't slow down, you're over, because corners like Porter Bridge and Braddon Bridge and I guess all the bridges. Maybe that's why they call them that. But they're the ones where you really got to slow down. We're coming up into Ramsey and everything. Or Schoolhouse Corner first. They're the ones you learn because you go flying off the track. Wow, the right rear suspension is very, very messed up. We'll continue around the lap because I just want to see the rest of it. But I gotta remember, I guess, after the Selby Straight, after Ginger Hall, there's that tight bend that sneaks up on you. But go through Parliament Square there, and then hook a right up this hill, and we're gonna work towards the Ramsey hairpin. Oh. And that might be it. We're going to see how far we can beat this proto beast of a car. Okay, here's the Ramsey hairpin, locking it up on the way in a little bit. We'll get to the mountain section. And thanks, Ark, for the comment. Appreciate the compliment. And we'll work our way up now to the mountain. The mountain opens up quite a bit and is a little easier, of a section, I think. I think it's the fact that it's so late in the lap, and that for us sim guys, we've probably wrecked by then, so we're not seeing it as often. I do play plenty of other sims. I was saying earlier, I play iRacing here and there for like competitive racing, but play a lot of like American oval sims, so NASCAR 2003, and I've done some videos on it, but I know most of the folks watching my channel are interested in the F1 stuff, so I don't make videos of it very often, but I do, I'm an American, I like the oval racing. I love IndyCar. There's just no, proper IndyCar game. I know there's talks of one, which would be really cool. Wow, the car is very crooked. I'm going slow for two reasons right now. One is because I'm slow. The second is because the car is so crooked. I do a set of Corsa just for fun. It's kind of my hot lapping sim, right? You can dream up whatever car you want to race, go find a mod for it, and then lap it around the Nürburgring. It's a good sim for stuff like that. Yeah, I think those are in my rotation, and then I have been trying to get back into the Isle of Man TT motorcycle game, which is essentially like this, but you fall off the bike every time you get a corner slightly wrong, so it's mildly infuriating. Now we're going over the Mountain Mile in very thick fog, tough to see. Might be something, I don't know if we want to get rid of the fog or if folks like the fog, but definitely makes it more challenging to see, because usually you can actually see really far ahead in this section. But we'll get through the mountain section. We're probably only 3 or 4 minutes away from the end of the lap now. And we'll check out the damage. It's through the mountain here. Fast corner here to the Black Hut. Towards the bungalow. And this is Bungalow Bridge. This left-hander, very fast corner when your right rear suspension isn't broken. And then we'll take this right, just deceptively sharp on the second half of it. When you're going full speed. Yeah, there we go, that part. And you gotta brake really hard to get into the bungalow here. Across the tram lines. And now we're starting to work down. I think the bungalow, I don't know this officially, but I think it's the highest part on the circuit. Get into third gear here. I was saying in my video, there's 4 of these bends with the huts on the outside, which is a great way to keep track of where you are. This is the tight one with the big right-hander. That's really easy to run wide on. Alright, that might be lap over. And I think I had called that out in my video as the sim crashes, so as you can see, pretty easy to crash the game if you get the wrong view. The track itself, it's no fault of Jim really. It's, you know, the track itself is a monster to run through Grand Prix Legends. So what are folks saying? Do we want to go back and try to do, I can just start in the back and try to do a race. I'm not convinced the track won't crash. I know there's some additional help out there that folks have taken a look at, reducing or changing some other settings that I don't want to page through right now while I'm streaming. But do we want to try to do a race, or maybe look at a different circuit or car combination and see what else we can get into? I do have quite a bit of stuff in here. Might say I don't want to give up on the Isle of Man. Let's do this. I'm going to turn off the fog. I don't want people to think I'm a quitter. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off like the fog and stuff. We'll make it nice and bright and sunny. Turn off the mountain mist and the ground fog, although they're very cool. And we'll try to do a race and see how far we get if the sim will let us do it. Of course, instead of just negotiating the circuit now, I'm going to have 9 other cars around me. But we'll let it load here. It does take a long time to load. The other track that takes a long time to load is the Targa Florio, of course. Alright, so let's just make sure we got a good car set up on. We're good for the laps. Got the ride height adjusted, all that stuff. So we'll try to do a quote-unquote race here. More like watch out for the other cars until we feel like we'll be okay, and then just drive the circuit. And see if we can maybe pass a car. Green flag. The car's awkwardly taking off from the start line. I've never tried a race here, so I don't actually know how the AI are. But we're off the line then, working towards the hill here, Bray Hill. And yeah, just really not going to be a place to pass going down the hill here. Really hard just to keep the car straight as you dip through the bottom, and it compresses. Well, you can hear I touch the ground there. We're working towards Quarter Bridge. I might be able to sneak up if I'm feeling gutsy here. Yeah, but we are too wide in front of me. I'm gonna have to wait till things patter out a little bit. Low RPM performance in these F2 cars is not good. Second gear here through Braddon Bridge. I'm going to try to get the gas down. Let's work towards Union Mills. I know this part of the circuit really well. And so hopefully over time I can learn the rest of it just as good, put on a good show here. It is really impressive when you see somebody lap this circuit like they know it. Oh. As I'm saying that, basically centering my car into a house. Wow. So I'm not as good as maybe people think I am. We could try that one more time. That was awesome though. So we will quit that and try to try one more time. I love the crashes in Grand Prix Legends when the tires fly off, because then you're they're flying all over the circuit, and if it's the other cars that have crashed, it's a heck of a time to try to avoid all the tires and things. I'm gonna exit the sim all the way. Yeah, I did need the canopy. Exit the sim all the way just to make sure that we're not going to get stuck in any maybe the game doesn't do a good job managing memory. Can't blame it for being 21 years old. I'm gonna restore my race weekend. We're gonna try this one more time. That was definitely my fault, thinking I'm better than I am, saying I know this part of the circuit really well. Alright, so everything should be good to go. These situations where I'm running the same start of a race over and over again never tend to go well, so we'll see how well this goes. And then if it goes poorly, we'll go race at Monza or something easy. I'll let the car sort himself out here. I'm not going to take a cheap shot on the AI, so we'll roll off the line. Head down Bray Hill again. Oh, just scraping the ground there at the bottom. The car really doesn't like that compression. It reminds me of, I think the corner's Arenberg at the Nürburgring, where you're flying down a hill and it compresses. Lock it up going into Quarter Bridge here. Making our way towards the scene of the crime for the first race. Second gear here, though. We'll get the gas down as we head towards Union Mills, and we'll try not to knock any buildings down this time. I think it's a third gear corner, not a fourth, and with sliding. Much cleaner this time through. Put into third, and I want to get a good exit here for the long straightaway. Oh, I'm getting held up a bit. There's just nowhere to go around anybody here. I'm touching tires, keeping the car straight somehow. But clearly, I don't know how folks are going to be able to race other cars here. I mean, bikes themselves have a tough time passing. And so, you know, this little foray into trying to race a car around the Isle of Man clearly is not going to work. Or you have to be much more patient than I am. So I guess we'll park it here. And get out of the car. We'll do something maybe a little more achievable. Folks wanted to see Enna, so we could try to do Enna in an F2 car. It's a fun track. Is there actually a Richie Axelson was here graffiti on the wall? Or is that where I splat against a building? Alright. I don't know if I have Enna installed for this install, but we can do that really quick. That's not hard to do. I think I have that in my 65 folder. Yeah, the suspension didn't like that. I might not actually have Anna installed, so we will go install that. Grand Prix Legends Anna. Having a tough time typing. Alright. Janetto makes all the best tracks. Yeah, definitely another gravestone for the corner of the Isle of Man circuit. Richie Axelson twice now. 3 times. I don't think the first one was too bad. Well, and I actually saved that second contact against the car, so I feel pretty proud about it. So we'll install Enna here. That's all you really have to do to install most tracks. Run the exe, point it towards your folder, and then you'll have it. There's this whole season management component, so to access a track in Grand Prix Legends, you have to have the track listed in a seasons file. Those install programs, whoever wrote those originally did a great job, but they handle that for you. So here we go. We got Enna. We're going to do a short distance race against all of the AI, since we'll be able to handle it on this track. Should we stick with the Protos? Is that, do folks like the Protos? Or should we switch to a different car? I don't think I did a proper showing in the Protos, so we might as well stay on it. I'm going to make that decision myself. Give her a good run. Something different than half throttle the whole time. So this would be a 9-lap race. What was the long one be? 18. We'll try the 9-lap. Something that loads much quicker. So, we'll take a quick look at the car setup. We're not going to need this much fuel. But I think I'm going to leave everything else where it is and save this. Not export it. Save this as a setup. Alright. So we'll do a few practice laps in this. This car might be great here because of the canopy. This is a super fast circuit, and it's probably been since 2013 or so, or I guess I did that video 2011 or 2012. Basically been since I did the video for my 65 season that I've raced at this circuit, so it might take me a couple minutes to remember all the corners, but from what I do remember, it's kind of like a reverse oval. Being American, that'll probably work out pretty well for me. Get it down into 4th gear. Already getting asked if this is the last race of the stream. I guess folks want me off. I have no idea. I had no plans for this. I was actually surprised it all worked out as easily as it did. It's a beautiful track too. Janetto did a really good job on this one, as all of his tracks are, but basically it's just a bunch of high-speed corners. Alright, get it up into 5th gear. So really this track's all about seeing how hard you can push it in each of these corners, because they're almost all the same looking, at least at first glance. I'm sure they're all very different for those familiar with the circuit, but we're in the 4th here, hopefully not overcook it. this car behind me a little bit. Yeah, I'm using a G27 with a Thrustmaster shifter. Just a little kink here. What the blue flag guy is telling me. It's one of the weird quirks in Grand Prix Legends. The marshals always wave a flag at you in practice if you're in front of another car, even if you're on a good qualifying lap. Oh, sliding out wide. I think I actually made contact a little bit with this car behind me. Last corner here, not one you need to brake for. Yeah, this car is not going to be the same as, well, I guess it's actually going to be pretty close to how the 65s were around Enna. In that they're not super high powered, so there's not going to be a lot of oversteer or anything. Whereas if you do like a, it'd be insane to try to race like the 69s around here or something with the wings and the downforce, but also like a 67 with a lot of horsepower. Where we essentially just turn right the whole time. So this is a fast corner, I think. Just breathe the throttle a little bit. Try not to run too wide. So not quite as fast. It might be a downshift to fourth. So it's that fast kink and then that like medium speed corner, and then this goes in the last corner. Alright, I think I got it now. Yeah, I had never heard of this car before either, before seeing the F2 mod when that came out, you know, whenever it was, 5-10 years ago. But it's a pretty interesting car, and I don't actually know the horsepower. If anybody wants to go look what the Protos has for 1967 F2, it feels somewhere between, it feels a little more speedy than the 65 F1 cars, but I could be wrong. Those are, I mean, I know those are 1.5 liter. Fourth here, getting it up into this gear shift has a 7th and 8th gear, which clearly don't need to put it in 7th. That's a really hard corner. Late apex, obviously not what I've done a good job on there. This guy behind me really wants through. All right. To spear the end of the pit wall. And we do. So I think we're gonna have to put a gravestone here as well for Richie Axelson. The car itself felt a little bobby. Like it was bobbing back and forth a lot. Which would be nice to sort out. But I don't know. I think I actually want to change my rear end again. We'll go back out and try to be more successful than we just were. No speed lane in the pits. Pretty awesome. Having a lot of trouble suddenly just getting into 5th gear, which is going to be really important. This track's all going to be 4th and 5th gear. Car on my outside cut me off. Passing back. I think we stay in 5th gear for this kink, but let off the gas a little bit. don't know if that's Surtees behind me. It looked like his helmet, though. Pretty interesting. I know a lot of the F1 guys did race in F2 back in the day. It's actually where Jim Clark had unfortunately gotten killed, was in an F2 race at Hockenheim. It wasn't an F1 race. So, different times. Pretty cool that you could go to an F2 race and see a lot of the F1 guys racing. So you can't even really imagine it today. And I had no idea this car was made out of wood, which is, yeah, I guess explains why it disintegrates whenever it hits something. Alright, I think I finally got a decent line through that corner. The view is off-center. Let's see if I can fix that. I'll fix that here in a second. It's almost like you guys don't want to see half the cockpit. Alright. Something wrong with OBS, of course. See if I can fix it in here. I was trying to work on something to zoom into the menus when I was in the menus, but clearly it activated when when I went into the game. Let's see if I can get it to be corrected. Either this or we'll have to quit and come back in, which is fine. See if we got it all fixed here. 225 brake horsepower, so pretty powerful for a F2 car. All right, looks like I've got the view fixed. Interesting. I don't know what button I hit. Back out there then. Yeah, well, OBS is the source of all bugs because that's what everybody uses to do live streaming. And I was trying to use OBS to record my videos for a little while because I had used Fraps in the past. Fraps makes massive movie files. So you record a 30-minute video and it's like 500 gigs of footage. So OBS does a better job at it, but OBS does not work well with Grand Prix Legends. It doesn't. Earlier I was trying to show a replay and it just didn't pick up the video at all. So because Grand Prix Legends has to change video resolution so often, since the menus are in low res, it gets all messed up. Can't use the normal game capture stuff. You also can't run Grand Prix Legends in windowed mode these days. With the some of the updated graphic features that were added, they just only work in full screen, which to be able to run a track like the Isle of Man or Targa Florio even, you have to, I mean, it's amazing what the modders for this game have done, so you can't not use the new graphic features. Alright, so we're on a flyer here, flat out through the first corner. Through a kink here, and then pretty hard braking into fourth gear, trying to make a late apex of it. Maybe a little too early of an apex, but not going to be able to stay flat. Let out of the gas a little bit. Get it going down the back straightaway into fifth gear. We'll just lift a little bit for the kink. Needed to. Right up to the edge of the track, nice and cozy, and then brake pretty hard for the second slower corner into fourth gear again. And can work that out back up my braking a little bit so that we accelerate better, and flat through the final turn. Come across the line. Pretty easy lap once you get a hang of the track, of course. But I think what I did 5 laps there and crashed once, and then feel like I know my way around now. So this is probably not a bad beginner track for Grand Prix Legends. I know the classic one is Monza. For the original tracks, that's probably the easiest track, but they have their own difficulty. The Parabolica at Monza is a hard corner to get into, you know, consistently. Fly our little wooden coffin here through the kink. Yeah, the car is fairly pushy. If anybody has some ideas what to try for a setup to loosen that back end out, that would be very helpful. You can try to change the ride heights a bit. Getting it in that 7th gear. I gotta figure out my shifting here to get from 4th to 5th better. I don't know where the pitboard guy is around the track. He must be before the start-finish line. I don't know how fast we are at all compared to the other cars. This is one of those tracks where you could definitely have a asymmetrical setup to help you turn to the right, kind of like a reverse oval setup for like US racing. Yeah, we can try to stiffen the rear anti-roll bars and see what that gives us. I think there's a lot of it in my driving too. I'll try one more lap here. Yeah, I don't know where the pitboard guy is around here, which is kind of a problem because during the race we'll need to keep up on what lap we're on, or else we'll have to count. I'm just gonna keep the there we are. Alright, well, P3, that's not too bad. 14 minutes to go. So I don't know why he's all the way down there, but I guess that is maybe where the pitboard guy would be in real life. So, although the car is tight, we're not slow. We can thank our canopy for that. Staring at the end of the barrier there. Alright, we'll pull into the pits. We'll take a look, see if we can make an adjustment, and then work through the sessions here. Coming in hot. No rules back in the 60s. So we'll see. I think stiffening the anti-roll bar would be good. I'm gonna actually loosen the front, stiffen the rear a little bit. You can see how scientific I am with all this. Click a few times, things look good. So we have 12 minutes left in the session, and we are in 3rd. It wasn't lying to us, but we're a half second off Jackie X there in the Matra. So maybe what I was talking about earlier with the Matra's horsepower is not accurate. All right, so we'll try a few more laps here. See if things feel better. Thanks, Fred in the shed. just one car ahead. It'd be good to try some slipstreaming too. But it's good to know that I'm third fastest and I haven't had any slipstreaming help. So we'll go through this kink up here. I want to say the car feels better, but it shouldn't, clearly. Got a car looking towards the inside a little bit. So maybe we didn't go far enough with the rear. It definitely feels different for sure, but I don't think different in a way that's going to make us that much faster. That feels a whole lot better. There wouldn't be visor reflection. It's kind of opaque. Yeah, it'd be interesting to try a car like this in a sim that supports glass reflections, because you would get a weird effect. But yeah, for those that weren't looking earlier, this car at Protos has basically a huge windscreen on it. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. It's not my helmet visor that you're seeing. It's the actual car has this strange cockpit type device on it. All right, so we're done with practicing. I'm going to change in classic fashion. We're going to soften the front. We're going to pump up the rear roll bar, and we're going to try that out straight into a race. So we'll accelerate and finish this session. And then something that's really odd, but always encourage you do in Grand Prix Legends is save the session, quit and save the session, and then come back in. Grand Prix Legends has this weird error sometimes that will make the laps just get all screwed up if you go straight from a practice to a race. It doesn't always happen, but it sucks to realize on like lap 4 of a race that the results are all screwed up. So it's almost never, I don't think I've ever seen it happen if you quit. All right, so we got Jackie Ix on the pole. Erwin, I'm in third, all in the front row. I'm going to be on the outside. Jack Brabham behind us. Should be a good race, I think. All right, on the front row here. We're doing 9 laps, I think, around the track. You can just see the flag guy to the right there. Flag is up. Down, we're underway. A lot of wheel spin off the line. Oh, I'm getting a great start. If I have anybody to my inside, so I'll take it a little wide here, but I think I've got them all. So could this be a runaway victory? Be a little boring if it was. Taking it a little gingerly here through the first slower corner. Watching the field spread out in my mirror there. Tiptoe it here through the kink. Pretty wide and slow through that corner. I got the guys right up behind me. Yeah, this game is the first one that is really on the same engine that iRacing is on today. It's changed a ton, obviously, since then, but you can see the evolution in it. If you play this game, you played NASCAR 2003, you know, that was like, not the next game that had it, but the next one with a step up on it. And then iRacing is kind of the evolution. If you've been with that for a long time, you've probably seen it evolve. When it first started, iRacing was literally NASCAR 2003 with road courses. More road courses, more accurate tracks. It's very different today, but so it seems like we have the field matched with our proto here. You know, this is why it's fun to do these types of things, because this is not a car I've ever driven before. Not for more than a lap somewhere. I think I tried it out when the mod first came out because I was very interested to see what the windscreen would look like. Did a lap, and then I was good. But it is a lot of fun to drive. So it seems like I've got them all lined up behind me, single file, but I might just be a little bit quicker. There's some stuff we could do to adjust the AI, but this game doesn't have a normal AI percentage setting like you would find like in Assetto Corsa. So it's not super easy to make them harder. How it actually works, or originally was supposed to work, is every AI is set to every track has a set level to it. And as you race, if you do a race, it then calculates based on your results in that race to either make the AI a little harder or a little slower. And it didn't do it so that all of the cars were suddenly quicker. It actually spread the field out more. It's a pretty interesting system. I suppose it would work really well if you raced a lot. And back in the late 90s, you would have definitely raced a lot with the default stuff. But there's ways to override that system and set a manual AI value, which maybe we would need to do with this track, since we're not in a huge lead. We still can see them behind us, but we're doing a pretty good job here. It's nice to win once in a while, though. Drive pretty well within my limits and be out front here. Yeah, I think the classic complaint about Grand Prix Legends is that it feels like ice, and I would agree with you on cold tires with the original 67 cars. But with some of the mods that you can get, like this one, it does not feel like you're driving on ice. It feels, you know, fairly realistic. It's obviously a 21-year-old game, but as you can see, I'm not driving unrealistically. As we got a broken down car over here on the right, having a tough day while we're out leading. We'll have to take a look at our pit board. I don't love that it's not on the front stretch, although if it's more realistic, then I guess that's all right. Yeah, and if you're looking for Grand Prix Legends, I'm not going to encourage somebody to go pirate anything, but it's a 21-year-old game. You can only find secondhand copies on places like eBay. You can easily Google Grand Prix Legends download and find it. I've got a boxed copy and a CD copy, but I think, you know, I have an ISO version that I think I found online somewhere that I've used to install from because it's just easier. My modern computer doesn't have a CD drive in it. But and something I was thinking of doing is like an install guide for the game. I think there's one out there, but it's super easy. You have to have the CD or a disk image of the game, and then there's basically a install patch that you can use that'll get you 67 season with reasonable updated cars, and then you can go download the track updates that are on the Mirror Zone site, and you got yourself the game. It's not like installing RBR, that's for sure. Oof. And basically, I think I just have to not throw this one away, and I can win. I don't think I've really won I don't think I've won too many races on my channel, so I'm gonna let this one just go the distance. It's a short race. I feel like we could do maybe one more race or something. If folks have any ideas, would love to hear them. Yeah, Grand Prix Legends, it isn't really for sale anymore. I mean, I don't support piracy, but it's not a game that you can go out to a store or, you know, buy new copies online. I found a new I did an unboxing of a new, quote-unquote, new copy. It just was sitting in some storage room somewhere. So it's probably fine to just find a download somewhere. But you definitely want to get an ISO download if you're going to download the game, so that you can use the patches and stuff to get it up. But it's really one patch you need. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the game install guide. Oof. I'm missing my shift a little bit there. I guess I could blow the engine. That could happen. I think there might just be one lap left of this race. Running dangerously close. Now, what would the T-Bird be in Grand Prix Legends? The Thunder Cars? I don't actually have the Thunder Cars installed. Going through the kink here. Hopefully you see that this was the last lap. It's a little tougher to keep track when you can't get the pit board guy at the start-finish line. My favorite car. Gosh, I mean, it's really hard to have a favorite car just because there's so many different mods and things. I mean, I could have like a favorite in each. But it'd probably have to be the Ferrari 312, just because it's the one I've done the most driving in. It's a car I used to race back before I really knew a lot about Grand Prix racing. Recognized Ferrari as an American, and it's honestly one of the best cars to drive out of the original set. Really testing my own luck here, getting really close to the inside and outside. Coming around the final corner, I think this has to be it. there's the checkered flag crossing the line. Really no contest. Yeah, the BRM P115 is something special. No real contest on that race, but pretty fun to take the old Protos out. I think I found a new, not favorite car, but new fun car to drive here at Enna. Yeah, it'd be fun to take Sterling Moss's Mercedes around somewhere. There goes the field roaring past. Could have been fun to race some of the other cars, but you know, when you get one of those walk-away wins, why not? Why not take it? All right, so we won. Jim Clark finished second, 10 seconds behind us. Not often you're going to be able to say something like that. And Alan Reese, Chris Irwin, third. So it looks like Jackie X had an accident, oddly enough. So we'll get out of this race here. Yeah, the BRMs of the after the 1.5 liter era are a pretty interesting sort. All right. Axelson wins Formula 2 race. I don't know if this will end up showing up on the stream, but the newspaper was glorious. It said that we had won. All right, so we'll look for one more kind of quickish thing to do here before we round out the first ever stream. But why don't we could switch to the 67s. I'm trying to remember what the right set is for this. I think it's a 67X. I don't know why we don't have pictures. We'll see if things work correctly. Aha, I have the wrong set selected. There we go. So this is, I think we have to race the, is it the P115 or the P261? It's the P115, right? The one that has just the crazy, basically two engines. Why don't we, since we can do stuff like this, since we're streaming, we will pull open Google and search for BRM P115. So I'm pretty sure this car essentially had two engines bolted together. Let's see if we can search for engine. This might be, that's a model kit. Here's the real guy. So this is essentially two engines hooked up together, and oddly enough, it was extremely heavy. Here we can see Jackie Stewart going around it. Extremely heavy car, probably had way too much weight towards the back, but it is quite the beast. And so why don't we drive that? And for a circuit, we'll have to choose something. Yeah, it's two flat eights weaved together, and for some reason they had problems with it. I don't know what the issue would have been. So we can either pick a fast track where we might be somewhat competitive, or if we pick a twisty track, we're going to have no hope in the world. I don't know. It's a good question what kind of graphics I have installed. So why don't we do, I think Riverside could actually be really fun. One of my favorite tracks. Could do a race at Riverside. Now this probably isn't a good, although we have the back straightaway, we can let her sing a little bit. This probably won't be a good track for it. And I think this car has more gears than most. We're not going to do a 60-lap race. We will do possibly a 9-lap race. But all right. So here we are at Riverside. And for this car, I guess we can reduce the fuel a little bit. Steering ratio should come down. I do like 12:1. It's definitely not realistic, but this game only really allows for like 270 degrees of rotation on wheels to begin with. So, and I'm going to go ahead and just stiffen up the rear bar and soften the front to see out of the gate if we can make this thing turn a little more. And we will try, I'm going to adjust my resolution real quick, but we'll try a few practice laps here and see how well we can get the old BRM around the track. And hold on, the game volume is very low. One thing that gets a little tricky is managing all the different installs and stuff. You change one setting in one and then the other one's not the same, but there we go. Alright, we will leave the pits then. So what do we got? Alright, the gear I knew there was something weird about the gear shifter, but it's that it's on the right and there's it's a 6-speed. Oh, but she sounds pretty good. So this is one of those cars you just kind of point and shoot. It's going to be pretty interesting around this circuit. Well, I'm quite a bit quicker here than this car in front. I don't know what kind of car that would be. Maybe a Brabham, one of the private entrants. We'll just blast past in a straight line here. We'll see how quick we are. If we're way quicker again, I will try to change something because I do want a little bit of a fight. We've had one race now where we have this car's pretty incredible. But one race now where we got pretty good there. P15 at Kyalami. We've had one race where I crashed out twice in a row, and then we just had Enna where I won handily. Yeah, BRM, I'm kind of a passenger here. Bottoms out like crazy through the straightaway. The dog leg here will try to take flat out. Oh, not too hard. Try to slow her down. We're going into the wall. All right. Well, we know we got to slow down a little sooner for the final corner. I'm going to pull her into the pits here if I can. I would disagree that this is the only sim that requires skill to drive, although it requires a lot of skill. It might not be extremely realistic all the time. So I think it's a fairly realistic sim, but there's definitely some aspects of it that are just out of date. I don't think it's too bad to, admit that or think that. It's an old game, but it's a lot of fun. And I think the thing that, at least for me, really is something I love about this sim is that it's the full experience. You're racing, the old cars on the old circuits with the old rules. We got McLaren in front of us here. He seems awful slow as well. As I lose it, hitting some of the tires on the inside. Lots of runoffs here, except when Jack Brabham hits you from behind. All right, we're gonna reset back to the pits. I do love the white whale. I did a passion video on that one a few months back. If you go check that out. The RA300, very cool car, drives terribly. Oh, alright. Well, we'll see how quick we are compared to our teammate here. We got a yellow flag, probably still Mr. Jack he wasn't able to go hit a button and reset the car. There he is. Just catching that slide there. Smooth on the power. Honestly, it doesn't feel that bad. It's pretty remarkable. I love the amount of power it has. You really got to dance with your right foot. I think I've got another one behind me. See the wide mouth on it in the mirrors. Pretty intimidating looking. Up through 6th gear, slamming the chassis against the ground. You would definitely not want to do that in real life. Oh, just the power motoring down the straightaway. Brake plenty early this time. Almost missing my 5th gear. Shift. See if we can get a lap in and then go ahead and do a race. So I think we're in a train of BRMs. I think there's 3 of us in a row here. Poor Jack is still off the circuit here. Oh, just hitting. I got the noise that I crashed, but I don't think I crashed. Just hitting the inside tires. I think we got a slower car up ahead. Whoa! Yuck and rent there on the inside. I don't know who I'm chasing right here. Maybe Pedro Rodriguez. Got a BRM up my inside. Is that what's going on? Alright, I'll let you by, Jackie. Through 6th gear, left through the kink. I'd love to get a lap. Maybe I'll back off a little bit here. I just want to get a clean lap in. My teammates swarming around me trying to show me how it's done. Alright, we'll get on her. Just pure sideways over the crest. Into 4th gear then. And they're so slow through the S's. Losing it here. I need to get a clean lap. I'm gonna let another car going past me too. Well, it might be Jack again. Not too happy with me today. It's a super fun car to drive. I actually forgot how fun this car is. Ferrari behind me now. It's going to be hard to find a clear spot on the track, especially when I feel like I'm so much quicker in the S's. I will let the Ferrari by. See, it's just so cool to have all the cars. There's a Cooper. Might be Yakin. What's going on, Tom? I'm gonna back off here. I don't think I've got anybody behind me. set us sideways for the front straightaway. Up through 5th gear. Oh man. This would be insane to do in real life. Wow. A lot of oversteer, understeer, oversteer again. Try not to get too far. It's easy to let the S's send you out. I'm too fast, cooking it into the wall. Well, I kind of gave up on that one, but I think I feel very good in the car. We'll have to see where we are in the in standings here. So we're really far down, but that could make it a really interesting race to try to pass some cars, which I think I'm going to do. And so we'll do this race. We'll wrap it up. Hopefully not before the laps are over. We're gonna do a 9-lap race here, so it should be pretty good in the BRM. All right, so I'm gonna accelerate the time and wrap up this session. It looks like it's not showing the screen. There we go. Alright, so we're going to start 19th out of 20 cars. Do a 9-lap race here at Riverside. It should be fairly exciting. Alright, so sat at the back of the grid in our 16-cylinder car. Green flag is down, we're underway. Power off the line. Up the inside. Try not to tangle up with anybody else. Oh, a car running wide in front of me, all over the track. Come on. Oh, and we're gonna cut through, hit a couple of the tires. That would have definitely been game over in real life. Messed through the S's for the first time by. Picking up quite a few spots thanks to the acceleration. Got a Cooper right on my tail. Trying to get the throttle down here though. I have a feeling I'm just gonna motor by all these cars going down the back straightaway. I think I might have picked up a little bit of damage from hitting those tires, but nothing too bad. The wheel just feels a little weird in the middle. We got a blue flag. That might actually be what I was talking about earlier, which sucks, but I think I didn't do my own rule and back up or quit out before starting the race, so I might have to do the start over again, which might be okay because, yeah, it's happening. That's one of the negatives of using old games, but yeah, this is what happens. I don't know if you'll be able to see the standings because it'll be super tiny, but basically everybody's 15 laps down suddenly. So we'll save the practice results, we'll go back in and restore them, and everything should be fine, but have to remember to quit before you race, if that makes any sense. So we'll do the start again. We'll try to avoid hitting tires this time. Let's see if we can cut across to an even better start. Although I think that's going to be hard to beat, to be honest. Barely see the flag there. Down. Ah, just even better this time, actually. Off the line. Having to lock it up into this first turn. Touching Guy Ligier, spinning. Can we collect it into the fence? Right, we're gonna try that one more time because that was an awesome start. Guy Ligier came out of nowhere there, I think. Yeah, I've got a feeling there might be a hidden Jimmy as well. This is going to be the one. I think we got this down pat now. We'll slow her up a little bit through this first left-hander. We got the Cooper right next to us. Alright, Cooper breaks behind. Cooper to our right. We're sandwiched. We're in 4th gear, which isn't the best, but we'll knock Yakin out of the way. He doesn't need to be in front of us. Break it down. Alright, so we didn't cut the course that time, but we did slam Yakin Rent off the circuit, which he probably won't be a huge fan of. We got a red Cooper behind us. Coming up from behind, but our acceleration is just real good in this car, even if we can't corner well. 2nd gear here. This is the hardest corner, I think, on the circuit personally. We have a broken down Cooper and a slow Ferrari as we'll blast by. Yeah, we'll use the mass to our advantage and just kind of punt everybody out of the way. And the Ferrari 312 getting the best of us as I botch this shift to 6th. Get it down into 4th gear here for the final corner. There's nobody up the inside. Looking to complete the first lap, so quite the workout, but doing a pretty good job. I'll check out the pit board when things calm down a little bit. Put it in 4th for the S's. I don't know how quick these guys up front are going to be. Feel out. Yeah, they're not super smooth through here. Could use a little bit of AI work. Could also be that I'm taking a weird line. Right. That makes that easier. One of the Coopers there had another issue. So the Cooper's not doing too well mechanically. Although that's another one of my favorite cars to drive. Oh, full opposite lock there. It's okay, we caught it. Gonna be liberal application of the throttle here. We have a car flying up the inside. We're able to stay in front of him. Flat out through the kink. Make sure not to overdo it on the braking. 4th gear here. Just a little too wide. See, if you nick the inside there coming through the last corner, you can help turn the car a little bit. It's real sweet when you get it. And we're just pulling up on these guys through the S's here. Hopefully nobody else breaks down right in front of us. We got a Ferrari and maybe my teammate there, Sir Jackie Stewart, right in front of him. Into 2nd gear. trying to get on the throttle as soon as possible. We'll get in the slipstream, see if we can pull these guys in. We'll check the pit board this time around. No idea how far up the field I am, but remember we started 19th. So I'm having so much trouble getting that 5th and 6th gear in. My small American brain can't take more than 4. Oh, a little hot coming in. Alright, so we'll come through here. Travis Nick. Too much, too much. It's alright, we got it. A little more exciting than I wanted it to be there, but we saved the car. That's what's most important. Try not to punt this Cooper off like we did his teammate, or his works teammate. I have tried these cars in Assetto Corsa. They're pretty good, but you can't really do, you know, they don't have the same rules and stuff in the sim to do races, and honestly the AI isn't super great, as we have a Honda parked in the hay bales on the right side. Maybe a certain surtees. Alright, we're going to try to do this whole part of the lap a little bit better than last time as I get on the dirt there. The steering wheel, I think, is 2D. Alright, smooth upshift. Working through the kink. Closing in on the Cooper. We got a slow car down the inside as well. Having to watch out. I think that was my teammate. Doesn't bode too well. Alright, we'll come through the final turn. Not spinning out. We've got 5 laps to go. We're P12, probably P10 with this pass and that slower car. Just throwing it up the inside. We got a yellow flag here. See a car way off the track. It's pretty much a chaotic race, I think. A lot of fun though. A little too wide there. Just let the car hang it out. It'll slow down itself, being sideways. A nice acceleration here out of the 6th turn, I believe. And the yellow flag, but I think this might be for that Honda that we have parked on the outside of the circuit. Yes, it does take multiple laps for... There he is. It takes multiple laps for them to clean up accidents, and some of them just never get cleaned up. Yeah, I think the gear shifter is 3D. Another slower car, so we might just win this race de facto. One of the Ferraris broken down there. And more white flags. Could that mean even more? I think everybody's breaking down. Slamming the bottom of the car against the tarmac. We'll rocket through here. I have no idea what position I'm in because the pit board's going to be a lap behind, so it should say 10. I think I passed 2 cars that lap that were both broken down, and another 2 that had been crashed. It's proper 60s racing. Okay, 4 laps to go. P9 apparently on the last time through. I do see 1 car pretty far ahead, so we are racing somebody still. Through the S's. It does feel good when you get all this correct. I'm definitely not as quick as I used to be as I lock up the brakes a bit, but still a ton of fun to throw these cars around something like Riverside. Something impossible now. Alright, I see 1 car in front here. Oh, running wide. Jack Brabham, I believe, or Denny Hulme. Might be Denny Hulme. I think Jack Brabham's got a gold helmet. Get in a second. Just prepare for the high speed straightaway. Just love when it slams the ground at the bottom of the hill there. Alright, into fourth gear then. Alright, 3 laps to go, P7. We're going to pass Denny Hulme here. P6. Not too bad. Starting 19th. Half of the cars in front of us blowing up, punting off a couple. Spin and win, potentially, still in the cards. Although I do not see any additional cars in front of us. Second gear then. It's kind of just holding on through the whole S's section. Yeah, I think you might be right. I didn't know the British racing motors were into criminal activity, but it seems awful suspect that the rest of the cars are failing. But Richie Axelson must win the botched Riverside Grand Prix. Bad lap. Actually, a few laps to go then. Because most racing I've done in one sitting for a while. Oh, huge skid marks in the track there. Definitely not for me. Wonder what happened there. Oh, it's sliding wide. Whew. That's the right line through the corner. Meant to do that. Too bad. I think 2 laps to go then, and nobody in front to see, but pretty enjoyable just to lap this circuit. Into fourth gear there. The car definitely likes fourth better through the S's. Second for turn 6. I see a string of cars up there. It looks like the leaders might all be together, but I don't know if we're going to have the time to catch them. Getting a good run out. We'll check the pit board this time, but I think there's going to be 1 lap to go. Letting it hang out there through the final corner. We'll take a look here at the pit board. 1 lap to go. Bandini's 12 seconds ahead of us. It's an awful large gap. I just love the ominous skid marks that head straight off the circuit in certain parts. trying not to spin the car out, although it is quite comfortable to drive, and I'm definitely catching those cars in front. So if there was another 100 or so laps, we would totally catch them. But I'm pretty happy there's not 100 more laps. This is a pretty tiring drive. Alright, get into the third, second gear here. Just kind of coasting it around at this point. Nothing to win anymore. We did survive the full race after 3 attempts. Sixth gear, through the final corner, come down to 4th. Slider in, hope she doesn't go too far. A stricken Ferrari against the wall. Oh, could we have picked up a top 5 then? Coming across the line, that feels like a win to me. From 19th to, I think, potentially top 5 there. In the P115 beast of a car. It is a lot of fun to drive this one too. Alright, so we'll get out and take a quick look. Take a quick look at those results. So Jim Clark won the race. We finished 5th position, so looks like Lorenzo Bandini had something terrible happen in the final turn and didn't work out too well for him. But Denny Holm, Dan Gurney rounded the podium. Okay, so I was racing Jack Brabham there with the white helmet. Denny must have the gold one. Awesome. Well, so that was a ton of fun. I hope everybody has enjoyed this so far. Look at the amount of retirements and things. Ignitions, accidents, gearboxes, half the field. That seems appropriate, actually, for the age. But we'll quit out of this. Yeah, I appreciate everybody joining my first live stream. First time I tried doing something like this, and to have 50 people watching is pretty cool. I appreciate everybody that's been commenting and everything on the video. So we'll have to try it again sometime, but I think that's going to be it for now. So appreciate everybody coming along, and until next time, stick around, I guess. I'll promise to do some more stuff, but I'll see everybody again soon.